Hey guys, so first of all, Scott's watching soccer, so if there's yelling, that's what that is. Second of all, I'm sorry the lighting is not great in here. I'm gonna work on that eventually, but for now, this is what we're doing. So, welcome to my first installment of mental health topics, I guess. Mainly cognitive behavioral therapy. This is something that I have been very passionate about for the last almost 2 years. It's been almost 2 years. So I have been actively trying to pursue changing the way I think. It's hard to describe my experience with it because I guess I should tell you guys what I suffer from and what I am working to change. So for me, I have been dealing with severe depression, severe chronic depression since I was 13 years old. I'm 33 now, so it's been 20 years of severe depression where I wasn't seeking help. I kind of pushed it aside and ignored it and pretended like it wasn't an issue or that it was something that I didn't really need to deal with, because if I pushed it aside and I just went on with my life, everything would be okay, and it really wasn't. So that's the first thing I learned about my depression this last year, is that my depression and my thought patterns have created my life. So they've created the decisions I made for my career, my relationships, with my friends, with how I walked through every single day of my life. So my thought patterns your thought patterns are caused by the way that you learn to see the world and yourself when you're very, very, very young. Yeah, I'm not gonna get too far into that, but I have suffered from chronic severe depression for 20 years. That's a long time. And the last 2 years, I've started to finally unravel things and really find things that have actually helped me. I really wanted to share with you guys the things that have actually helped me, because I think we've all tried to get there, and I think that a lot of the times when something doesn't work for us, we decide that we're past hope, that we're past help, that we're broken forever. There's not gonna be anything that can change us, and that could not be further from the truth. So I really want to start off by saying to you guys that you are not outside of help. You're not outside of hope. You're not too far gone. There's no such thing. What is CBT? What is cognitive behavioral therapy? Cognitive behavioral therapy is based on the theory that our thinking causes our problem emotions and the behaviors that result from those emotions, rather than events. So our thinking causes the behaviors and the issues and the emotions rather than the events that happen to us. This is not a new theory. Like, even Shakespeare talked about it. Actually, I'll read you a Shakespeare quote about it because it's pretty interesting. Shakespeare said, "Make not your thoughts your prisons. There's nothing good nor bad, but thinking makes it so." Buddha said, "We are what we think." Your thoughts cause your reality. They really do. They influence how you process the world. I just want to start off by saying it's not your fault. You're not shitty for the way that your brain thinks, and you can change it. So that's great. CBT teaches you how to distinguish between your thoughts and your feelings. It teaches you to become aware of how your thoughts affect your feelings. It teaches you to evaluate whether these automatic thoughts and assumptions are accurate or biased. It teaches you to develop the skills to recognize, interrupt, and correct these thought patterns. So the benefits of diligently applied CBT are: decreases incidences of stress by correcting distorted perceptions of situations. Sorry, I'm looking down. I literally prepared for this video and I don't want to misspeak, and my memory is awful. It teaches you to understand and manage physiological effects of stress. So that like anxiety that sits in your chest, the discomfort, the stomach aches, the headaches, the weird diseases, weird symptoms that we don't know where they come from. These come from stress and distress. It can increase your emotional well-being. It can improve your self-image and confidence levels. It can improve your focus, productivity, your performance in your job, your hobbies, your life in general. It helps to decrease self-sabotaging behaviors. And it helps us better understand ourselves and other people. So when you can start to realize that other people behave according to their thoughts, and it has nothing to do with you, it helps you to be more healthfully, emotionally distanced from how people treat you, and you get to see that it's about them, it's not about you. That sort of just empowers you to walk through your life a little bit less affected by everything. I'm an empath. I'm somebody who, I feel everything so much, and I went through a period of time where I let everything just sit so heavy on me, and it took a long time to get around that and realize that I didn't have to take that on. It takes a lot to have something come in at you, whether it's negative, aggressive, angry, upsetting, distressing, whatever it is, that energy that comes at you, to be able to hold it and be like, is this mine? Does this have anything to do with me? And if it doesn't, you to learn how to put that down and be like, that's not mine. That's not something I need to worry about. That's not something that should affect me. It's very difficult to do that, but you can do it. I promise you, you can do it. CBT actually helps you understand why people are reacting the way that they react and the energy that they put out. CBT theory proposes that the only thing that can make you depressed, anxious, upset, angry, aggressive is you. Think that through, because you get to decide. You do get to decide how things are going to affect you. It sounds simple, it's very difficult in practice, but it is possible. It says that humans create their own suffering of negative emotions when their stress creates a shift in thinking to negative automatic thoughts and distorted thoughts. It helps you to identify negative automatic thoughts, which in turn causes self-sabotaging behaviors. It asks you to look for evidence to support negative automatic thoughts and to look for alternative explanations. When you get stuck in a negative mindset, if you just listen to what your brain says, what your reactions to things are they negative things? Do they come out without you even realizing it? That's a negative automatic thought. So we're going to talk a lot more about the different steps of things, and I do want to sort of take it step by step. So bear with me. If you've already learned this stuff, I appreciate any feedback, any contribution down below. Please have discussions down below. Try to stay positive in your discussions with people, and let's all just help each other. Let's normalize talking about this stuff, because it's been a stigma for years and years and years. It's been buried for years and years and years, and you're thought to be less than if you struggle with these things. But honestly, so many people struggle with these things. I think that the strongest people have overcome these things. The first thing that I want to talk about is identifying thoughts. That sounds weird, but identifying the thought that causes these emotions, these upsets, these reactions. You need to look at the thought that caused it. So instead of saying, I'm anxious because I'm nervous, or I'm nervous because I'm anxious, those are both emotions. What is causing the emotion? Well, I'm nervous because I always fail at stuff like this. Is that actually true? That's the thought, but is it true? CBT asks you to challenge these thoughts, these absolutes, these things that you come up with that are not based in reality. They are disproportionate to what's actually happening, usually. So identifying the thought is the first step. The feeling that you have, why am I feeling this way? What's the thought that's causing me to feel this way? Let's use the, I'm nervous because I think I'll fail. I always fail at these things. Is that based in reality? So identify the thought, look for evidence. Is that based in reality? Do you fail everything that you've ever attempted to do? Probably not. Try to look for the evidence that this thought is true. Most of the time it's not based in reality, and it's extremely distorted. Identify the emotion caused by the thought. So nobody cares about me. That's the thought. Let's use that as an example. Nobody cares about me. You might feel depressed, you might feel isolated, you might feel rejected. What is this emotion gonna cause you to do? Probably to isolate yourself even more. So identify the behaviors is the next step that come from these emotions. So you'll isolate yourself. You may not be willing to open up to people. You might not be willing to have or sustain relationships with people because you're so scared that nobody likes you and that they'll find a reason to reject you. Now, even though rejection happens, it doesn't mean it's about you specifically. It's so tough because it is something that we invest so much in our relationships with people, and you have to realize that everybody's going through their own struggles, and not everybody's doing this for the first time, okay? Nobody knows what they're really doing, and we're all trying to navigate together. So if you can, try to remove this projection onto other people. Try to find the evidence. Is it true that nobody likes you? You don't have family members that like you? You don't have people that are there in your corner? Do you have people, maybe you've cut yourself off from them, but they were always good to you and supportive of you? The evidence that you are liked by no one is probably non-existent. That also might cause you to try to be something that you're not, which is not gonna make you happy. If you're like, oh, they'll never like me for me, I have to try to be this other thing that they like. One, it's not sustainable, and two, it's not helpful for you at all. So be genuine, be true to who you are, find the things that spark happiness in you, and be unapologetic about it. Do you think that most people don't think I'm insane for the amount of reptiles that we have and the life that we lead? They do. They think I'm crazy. They think that I have something wrong with me. And I don't care, because they make me happy, and this is something I'm passionate about. And I found a community of people that are passionate about it as well, and I found some of the most amazing people in this community. So let your freak flag fly and find your tribe. Like, it's just be you, be authentic to yourself, be genuinely yourself. The people will find you. If people don't like what you're doing, that's not your business. What matters is if you like what you're doing. So decide what you like and what you want to do, and just unapologetically do that. The people will come. You'll find genuine, amazing people doing the same things as you, and you'll find support and love and community somewhere. Especially with the internet. Oh my God. When I was 13 and so depressed, we didn't have internet. We didn't have communities like this where people could reach out to each other and connect and have conversations and talk about these things. And it's such an amazing time to be alive, you guys. It's so amazing that we can go online and find like-minded people and talk about depression and talk about anxiety and talk about how we overcome these things and how we've figured out how to stop these thoughts or reframe or anything like that. It's so amazing. So please just try to just be you and talk about it, and you'd be shocked at how many people also have issues like this. Maybe they've overcome them, or maybe they're just starting out and you can help them. It's amazing. It's an amazing time to be alive. I want to talk about NATs, or negative automatic thoughts. Negative automatic thoughts happen when we're overwhelmed or anxious or depressed, and they typically are irrational and unhelpful. They usually cause a lot of upset, and they cause self-limiting behaviors. Negative automatic thoughts are involuntary. They become hardwired into your brain. So it's kind of a knee-jerk response. They control your moods and behaviors. They control your quality of life. They use emotional reason, fortune telling, mind reading, distorted ways of thinking. That's how they operate. And they're usually irrational and illogical. They'll persuade you to use self-sabotaging behaviors like avoidance, that new career, the thing that you want to learn how to do, new friendships, new relationships with people, talking to people that maybe you wouldn't have spoken to in the past, avoidance of opportunities, new relationships, new friendships. Or they can cause you to attack as a proactive defense. So don't let anybody near me. Usually it's against an imaginary slight. So if you imagine somebody did something because of this specific reason and it upsets you, but you have no idea why they did this thing. So reacting and being angry about things, sorry about the crickets. Reacting and being angry about things is not helpful. I need to move those, hold on. Negative automatic thoughts are not invincible, which is great news. You can take control of your thinking, your behaviors, your moods, if you put in the work. You have to put in the work. So, you guys ready to work a little bit? It's tough at the beginning and it takes pretty constant diligence in the beginning, but it becomes automatic. I promise. It gets easier and you don't have to think about it as much. It just starts to happen itself. But you do need to be very diligent in observing your thoughts in the beginning. Let's use an example of a negative automatic thought. Or here's some examples rather of negative automatic thoughts. I'm a failure. I'm stupid. My problems will never go away. Nothing will work out for me. Those are all really irrational thoughts. Those thoughts are not based in any form of reality, nor are they helpful for you at all. These thoughts can seem true. It's important to note that you truly feel this way when you're depressed or anxious. But when you take the emotion away from it and you look at the statement, the thought itself, typically they are completely irrational and not based in reality. You can learn how to change them and not accept them. Shut them down, move them along. I want to talk about thought replacement. To wrap up this video, I want to talk about thought replacement and observing your thoughts. So thought replacement is an exercise that can be applied every single day, and it should be for the first little while. You should be constantly diligent. When I say you have to be diligent, this is what I mean. Catching the negative thoughts is the first and most important one. The easiest way to do this is to journal when you're upset, when something triggers something in you, if you're feeling overwhelmed. The best way to catch these negative thoughts that you have about yourself and these beliefs that you have about yourself is to journal them. Identify the thoughts and write them down, or even just keep a mental tally if you're good that way. Keep a mental tally of how often these thoughts are happening. Thought stopping. Thought stopping is arguably the most important part of this. I named my inner critic. I named him the asshole. That's just the asshole talking. Shut up, asshole. You know, like, I'm sorry to throw profanity out there, but you have to remove that inner critic from yourself. It's not you that's saying these things to yourself. It's your belief about yourself, and beliefs can be changed, which is great. Catching the thought and saying stop. Physically saying stop, whether it's in your head or out loud, or whether you call out stop it, ass hat, whatever it is, right? Catch the thought and just stop having it. Just like if you hear yourself go, ugh, I'm never gonna be able to, stop. That's not even true. Just stop it. Just don't complete the thought. Just let it be. Just ignore it. Let it go away, because it's not based in reality. But yes, naming your inner critic helps. I want to know the names of your inner critics down below. Take note of how often you're having these thoughts. You will be surprised how often you have these thoughts. And honestly, just if you do nothing else, identify the thoughts and just stop them. Even if you don't replace them with a positive thought, just stop them. Realize how much you're doing it and really think about how you're speaking to yourself. It's very important how you speak to yourself. The next step would be to challenge the negative thought. Examine it, see if it's based in reality at all. See if there's any evidence for this thought to be floating through your head. Chances are there's not. Ask yourself, where's the evidence that this is actually true? Is there another way to look at it? See if you are using negative thought patterns, if you're fortune telling, if you're mind reading, if you're awfulizing things. We're gonna touch on the different patterns of thought in another video, probably the next one, because it's very important to understand that there's very similar patterns of thinking throughout a lot of humans, and we all do it. Okay, I'm gonna share something that's incredibly personal to me. This is actually my journal from when I was going through the heaviest depression I've ever been through. So just so you know. So my negative automatic thought that I identified was, I am permanently flawed and broken. So a reframe for this, for me, this is exactly what I wrote. That is irrational. Look how far I've come. Even though this year has been hard, I am aware of my toxic behaviors now, and I am taking action. If I accept this thought, I'm only causing distress to myself when I am truly taking action and responsibility for my own happiness. So that's pretty involved. You don't have to go that far at first, but it's helpful to look at these things and say, I'm awfulizing things. I'm going way too far. There's no way I'm permanently flawed and broken when there's something I can do about it. So even if it's that, I'm broken, but I can fix it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can be very simple or it can be very complex. It depends on your brain and how you work. I find that going deeper into your own beliefs about yourself is very helpful for reframing as well. The things I want you guys to try to work on, this is your homework for this video. Identify your negative thoughts. Identify the negative automatic thoughts that happen on a day-to-day basis, the things that upset you, and examine them. Or at the very least, stop them. Or at the very least, acknowledge that they're not founded in reality. Acknowledge that there's no rational reason for you to be thinking that. I want you to also keep track of the thoughts that you have that give you positive emotions. Try to look at the things that spark any kind of happiness or joy in you. Like, for example, when I come into the reptile room in the morning and I see these little faces looking at me, I'm so happy, and I think I'm so lucky that I get to have this in my life, right? So that's a great thing. And it's really easy to observe things that you're lucky for. So gratitude is huge in terms of how you can reframe things. So even if it's a negative thought that, say, I screwed this up today, even if it's something that has nothing to do with what you did, try to add a positive thought to that. So, I screwed this up today, but I get to go home to my animals soon, or I get to make a delicious dinner, or just try to find something positive in that moment. And gratitude is the easiest way to do that. Some key points that I want to leave you with is celebrate every victory. Every time you successfully identify a thought, stop a thought, reframe a thought, any of those things. I'm sorry if you can hear the tortoise he's given her. Or even, like, I don't know, even just acknowledge something that's going on, or taking the steps to make any changes. Just celebrate all the victories. If you got out of bed today, if you ate today, if you drank some water today, celebrate every single victory. It's so important to be grateful for the things that you're doing. Be proud of yourself for taking action. Whether you falter continuously or not, you're trying, and that's something to celebrate. This one's the hard one, but I really want you guys to try to be open with people about what you're going through, and talking to people about how you're feeling and what your experience is, because it's so important that we normalize the struggle of mental health. It's so important. It's been so great to see this last couple of years how many people are coming forward and talking about this, and building communities and building relationships that help to strengthen our skills, because it's just a skill as a human to have, to be able to cope with things and to be able to process things in a healthy way. And it's so important that we are talking about it and coming together and making it something that people aren't ashamed to talk about. Okay, because shame is huge in mental health. It's huge. When I was 13 years old, we medicated and then didn't talk about it. And I think a lot of people have had that experience, and I think that a lot of people have been ashamed of how they've felt, and especially men. Men need to be more accepted for having mental health struggles, and they need to be more applauded for facing these things and coming out the other side happier and healthier. And we need to talk about these things, especially with men, and especially with teenagers. So please talk about it. Talk about it to your friends. Talk about it with people you trust. Talk about it with people that you see are struggling. We need to normalize it more and more and more to reduce the shame that's associated with mental health problems. Okay. You'd be surprised how many people you find that are suffering in silence, and that you can help just by talking about it. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope that this video helps somebody. I really hope that this video helped somebody. Please leave your feedback down below and have positive, awesome conversations about your struggle and how you've helped to overcome things. Let us know how you thought stop and what you've noticed helps you the most. My tortoise is running away. Hold on. He's so cute. Anyways, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to keep up with our daily vlogs, and also for more mental health videos. Leave suggestions down below. I'm always looking for new ideas. And yeah, we will see you next time. Hopefully I'll be able to consistently film these, and I'm gonna do my very best. And yeah, we hope that you guys are happy and healthy, and I'm proud of you for being here. Thank you for coming, and we will talk soon. Okay, bye guys. Bye guys.